Hi, it is me, Ruul. And today, in our second MCreator tutorial, we will be covering tools, creating your first tool, creating tool packs, and creating the recipes that go along with said tools. Okay, so for creating your first tool, you're going to want to go up here to the plus for add new mod element. From there, you're going to want to go down to tool, or you can hit T on your keyboard to make things faster. Then you want to name your tool. This is going to be the blazing pickaxe. Create tool. So once you have created your tool, this will be the very first screen that you are met with. Your texture, 3D model if you have decided to make a model, which we will cover 3D models and how to import them and set them as tool and item in a future tutorial. But for now, we're going to keep it relatively simple. So tool, texture. From here, you can either create a texture or you can import a texture. I've already created a texture just to help make this simpler right here. So you click it and you can click select or double click your texture. Item has a glowing effect. Do you want it to glow like it is enchanted all the time or no? Or when a specific thing occurs. So let's enable. If you want it to be able to glow at a certain time, so be it at a certain coordinate, when an ability is ready, so on and so forth, you would click this plus, name your procedure, and then you would proceed to edit your procedure as you see fit. I am not going to be worrying about this or covering this at the current moment. We will cover it when we go to do more about procedures. And then below the glowing effect, you have special information, which is adding stuff to the tooltip of your tool. So if you mouse over it, you can have it to where it has custom text underneath it saying like what kind of fancy abilities it has and so on and so forth. Or you can add a procedure that allows the text to change depending on whether or not certain criteria are met. Let's just add some random flavor text, and it is formed from the heart of a blaze. Okay, and that will show up on the tooltip. So next page, we have properties. So here is where most of your general settings for your tools are going to be set. Up at the top, you have the name. So this is what is going to be visible to the player in game when using your tools. Next is your type, which can be pickaxe, axe, sword, spade, hoe, shield, shears, fishing rods, a special tool. So if you need a tool that only works with your specific blocks within your mod, or a multi-tool. So if you want to make a paxel, for example. But for this one, we are going to do a pickaxe. Creative inventory tabs is where you are going to select what tabs within the creative inventory it is going to appear. You can have it as your own custom creative inventory tab, or you can leave it as one of the vanilla ones. We are going to leave it as a vanilla tool and utility because that is all this is, and we do not have enough stuff to warrant making a creative inventory tab. Next is the blocks drop tier. This is what mining level it can mine at. So you have wood, stone, iron, diamond, gold, and netherite. The blazing pickaxe, we're going to make it mine at netherite tier. You can add extra rules and other types of conditions that are going to be required to be able to mine with this pickaxe. So you can make it to where this pickaxe has a mining level of netherite, but it can only mine blocks under this specific tag. I hope that makes sense. Next is efficiency, which is effectively the exact same as the efficiency enchantment. This allows you to how fast the tool can mine. If you click the little question mark, it can tell you what the vanilla efficiency values are. So since this pickaxe is going to be better than netherite, we have netherite tools have an efficiency of 9. So let's go with the same as gold. Let's go with an efficiency of 12. Enchantability allows you to get higher enchantments, better enchantments, and rarer enchantments. Each tool has a different enchantment value. As you can see, wood tools have a higher chance of getting better enchantments than stone tools by a significant margin. Same with gold tools, significantly better at getting enchantments, but as everyone that's played Minecraft would know, gold tools don't last long. So we're going better than netherite, so let's go with an enchantability of 18. Next is attack damage. Attack damage is not super useful on a pickaxe, but you can still set a higher attack damage if you so please. This would mostly be effective for things like multi-tools, axes, swords, or other types of combat tools that you are making. So we are going to leave the attack damage at 4. Next is your attack speed, which is again again, going to be the same thing as attack damage. It is going to be situational. It will help determine how fast you can attack and swing your weapon for a full damaged hit. Hence that little icon that always counts down when you're in combat. If you click this little question mark, it gives you a bunch of the math that is utilized to be able to tell how much of a damage multiplier you are going to be getting overall with whatever attack speed you are setting. Next is your durability. So obviously, as it says, the number of uses before your tool breaks. If you click on the question mark, it gives you all the vanilla values of all the different types of tools and things that have durability. So netherite has 2031 uses, which is kind of a weird number if you ask me, but let's go with something nice. I like to keep my durabilities on a nice even number, or just nice numbers in general. Let's go with 2400 durability. So next, we have our repair items. So what items you need in order to repair in an anvil. So you click your little plus and you choose your respective material. So since this is a blaze, we want blaze rods. There we go. Or if you want multiple different materials to be able to do it without selecting each one individually, you can add an entire tag to make it a hell of a lot easier to select a bunch of materials. So say you have created a mod that gives you a repair pack, but you have like say 10 different tiers of repair pack. You could put them all under one tag called repair packs, and then you could just apply that tag here. That would then allow you to use any of those 10 repair packs to repair your blazing pickaxe or whatever tool you have. Next is the shield blocking model. This will be used for when you are making a shield, which is something I will probably go over in a future tutorial of how to make a shield, but it would require some custom models that you would need to make within things like Blockbench. Next is blocks affected. The blocks affected is only used for the special tool type, which would allow you to create an entire list of all the different blocks that your tool is usable on. So if you want to make yourself a specific type of mining tool that can only be used on this type of block, or only this block, or this list of blocks, this is where you would set that up. Next is the category called is the tool immune to fire, which would allow you to make things immune to fire like a netherite tool. We are going to enable this because why would a pickaxe made of blaze be able to burn in the fire? Next is does item stay in crafting grid when crafted? This you would want to enable is if you are using it in a crafting recipe, but you do not want that item to be consumed. A good example would be the immersive engineering hammer, where you can put the hammer into the crafting grid with, say, an iron ingot to then make it into an iron plate. The tool remains within the crafting grid and it just takes damage, which segues us into the next one, which is damage item instead on crafting. This would allow, exactly as I said with the immersive engineering hammer, it would allow the hammer to take damage and remain in the crafting grid instead of being fully consumed. That right there will cover everything within your standard properties of a tool. And the next screen we have triggers, which are additional procedures that can be called to apply additional functionality depending on what you are doing. So say you want something to happen when you right click the tool. So say you have made a wand, you right click that wand, this is going to say shoot your spell or do whatever it is that you want your right click to do. Then the next is fairly similar, but instead this one is when you right click with your tool on a block. So say you right click it on a block, you want that block to just instantly break, or say rotate the block, or light said block on fire. Next is what do you want to happen when the item is crafted or smelted? So say you smelt down your pickaxe, what do you want to happen? Do you want, say, maybe the furnace and everything around it to explode? Or when you craft said pickaxe, what do you want to happen? That is what you would use in that slot. Next is when block destroyed with tool. Maybe you wanted to have built-in auto smelting capabilities. That would be effective right here for when block is destroyed with tool. Next is when living entity is hit with tool. So say for if we were making a blazing sword instead of a blazing pickaxe. With this one, this would be the procedure that you would set for what you want that sword to do to the enemy when you hit them. So say when you hit them, you want to do it standard damage, so on and so forth, but you also want it to always light things on fire. This is where you would set that procedure to set up that kind of mechanic. Next is the when tool is in inventory tick. So periodically the tool will tick, and if it's in your inventory, it will do this. So say you have a uranium tool and you want it to periodically, just for being in your inventory, apply radiation sickness to the player. Next is for when it is in your hand, which is again very similar to inventory, but this is for when it is exclusively held by the player. And last but not least, what do you want to happen when the player or entity, so that goes for player or mob, swings your item? So say you have a sword that every time you swing, you want it to shoot out a fireball with every swing, regardless of whether or not you hit an enemy. That is where you would set up something like that. That covers all of our different procedure triggers. In the future, we will cover more in depth with procedures, and I will be making small tutorials on different types of procedures that you can set up to do different types of things. I might even share some of my own homemade procedures. So, once you have set up everything that you want, your visuals of your tool, your properties, any additional triggers, here you will click Save Mod Element. Once you've done that, it will now save your tool to your main mod space. That means now that when you launch Minecraft through MCreator, it will now have your pickaxe. So let's launch Minecraft. Okay, we are now within Minecraft. Now we can view our custom-made tool. So open your inventory, tools and utilities. So everything you add will be put at the bottom of the respective vanilla tabs. Down to the bottom and right here, one blazing pickaxe formed from the heart of a blaze. Grab that. Does 4 attack damage at a 1 attack speed. That's your 1 attack speed. Let's switch down to survival mode. And this is our standard mining speed of our tool. And as you can see, the tool is glowing as if it was enchanted, even though there is no enchantments on this tool at all. Okay, so next I'm going to do a quick little showcase of the tool and comparatively show it with some of the other tools. So let's go with like a stone tool as comparison. Your standard stone takes a hot minute. Blazing pickaxe, much faster. Takes a hot minute, much faster. Takes a hot minute, faster. Even slower. And you don't get the gold. Blazing pickaxe, much faster, and we get the gold. Same goes for redstone, emeralds. Pretty sure stone can mine lapis. Yes, it can. Much faster. This is even slower, and we'll definitely not get the diamonds. Blazing pickaxe, nice and quick. Ancient debris. This will probably take a long time. So instead of taking a long time, we're just going to use our blazing, and much faster compared to the stone. That is how you add your standard tool. Now, let us return to MCreator and add a crafting recipe so we can actually craft this in game. Okay, and now that we are back within MCreator, we are going to add a crafting recipe for our blazing pickaxe. To add a crafting recipe, go up to the plus and come down to recipe or hit the keyboard shortcut R. Next, we want to name it. How I tend to name all my stuff within my projects is I will name it the exact same as for what it is, pick blazing pickaxe, but we can't do that because it shares an identical name, which will cause problems. So instead, so we don't have any problems, at the end I will add recipe, so that way there within MCreator, I can easily see that this is the blazing pickaxe recipe. Next, create new. So this here is our recipe page. What kind of recipe do we want? Do we want it as crafting? Do we want smelting? Do we want a brewing? Do we want blasting? How about smoking? How about some stone cutting? Campfire cook? Or tool smithing? But for this one, we're just going to use a standard crafting recipe. Next is the recipe registry name. 99% of the time, this does not need to be changed unless you are modifying a vanilla tool. If you're modifying a vanilla tool, you would do as this thing says here. You would type in the registry name name of the recipe you want to change. So say you want to add or remove or change a recipe for, say, a diamond pickaxe. You would type in right here, diamond_pickaxe, and then down below is where you would change the namespace to Minecraft so it knows that it is looking for the diamond pickaxe recipe registry within Minecraft. You're only doing something for just your mod, leave it under the mod namespace. The recipe group name and the crafting book category, they're things I tend not to use just because I personally have never used the crafting book and crafting recipe book within Minecraft. So, but if you do and want to add functionality for that, you can give it the group name and choose your category. And then at the very bottom, you would do, is this a shapeless craft? So if you want it to where as long as all the items are present within the grid, but not needing to be in a specific spot, this is what you would check. Now we want to create our recipe. So for the output, we are going to choose our pickaxe because that is what we want to add a recipe for. So to craft this, we want this as an upgrade to a netherite pickaxe. So let us add a netherite pick to the top middle slot. Let's add some blaze rods down below it for the handle. Okay, so there's most of our recipe. Let's add a few more things just to make this a little bit more. Add a blaze powder there and a blaze powder to this side, and voila, now you would just click save mod element and now you have your respective recipe. Now let's say if we wanted this to give us 16 pickaxes, you could set it up like that, but we're just going to leave it at our standard one. Now if you want a nice picture of what the crafting recipe would be, you can actually directly export a crafting image with this little button right here. This would allow you to save your pickaxe recipe image directly to, say, like your desktop. And this right here is the type of image that you will have exported, where it shows all the items of what your crafting recipe is, what gets crafted, and how many get crafted. So you could use this to export crafting images for your mod page, or you could just hop into game and take your own screenshots. Either option works. So we're done setting up our crafting recipe. Now we want to save the mod element. So let us head back in game. Okay, now that we are back in game, now we could test to see if our recipe works. So we want one netherite pickaxe in the top middle, a blaze powder on each side of that pickaxe, 2 blaze rods, and voila, 1 blazing pickaxe. And now just to show, this crafting recipe will also work with a damaged pick, completely replenishing its damage. Using procedures, you probably can set it up to where it also applies the amount of damage that was on your previous tool onto this tool. But again, like I said earlier with procedures, that will be something covered in a future tutorial. Okay, so that is the more involved way of being able to add all of your respective tools to the game along with their recipes. But MCreator has a nice built-in tool that allows it to go much quicker. It's up here under tools. Might remember this from the last tutorial. Create tool pack. Under the create tool pack, you can choose the base item. So what item do you want this tool to be made out of? Since we don't have any custom materials in here yet, we are just going to do something like some ender pearls. We're going to make the ender tools. Let's actually do eyes of ender. You select it. Now it'll automatically choose a color based off a prominent color within the item you have selected. The tool pack name, let's just call it ender. And then its power factor. This is how much more powerful than an iron tool do you want this new tool pack to be? So let's go with a 1.8 times better than iron tools and create tool pack. And as you can see, it'll automatically create all of the tools for you and all of the recipes for those respective tools. Now you can just edit them to fit more with what you had in mind. So let us go into the ender pickaxe. We can now set our glowing effect if we want it, special information, change our properties, so on, so forth. As you can see, efficiency of a 9, which is 3 efficiency higher than iron tools, 1 higher than a diamond tool. But once you have created your tool, you can go in and then proceed to edit them as you want. So that way there they fit more to what you want to desire. So say you wanted this ender pickaxe to have a much higher enchantability, but a really low efficiency. This is where you would come in to do that. You would come in, drop our efficiency, and crank up our enchantability. And then you just save your mod element. And now it has been updated to fit with the idea that you you had instead of the baseline that the tool creator gave you. When you use one of those things under the tool menu for creating a tool pack, armor pack, ore pack, material pack, so on and so forth, I do recommend editing whatever attributes you see fit within all of these tools, just so that way they're not like just 1.8 times better than an iron tool. This way here you can make them more interesting, more unique, bit more different. Same goes for your recipes. And that brings us to the end of today's tutorial. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and favorite if you want to see more, and down in the comments below let me know what kind of tutorials you would like to see in the future.